No matter where you are today, I want you to know that there is hope. I'm glad you're here so that we can take one more step together toward getting well and living strong. I'm Reba Hoffman, and today we're going to be talking about a very weighty topic. Why you can't lose that weight, no matter what you do, and even though you do everything that they tell you to do. So are you ready? Let's get started. Well, I want you to know, first of all, that you're not alone. Many, if not most Americans, actually are overweight or obese or morbidly obese. And I want one thing to sink in right here in the beginning. It's not your fault. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I've heard that before, but truly, by the end of this video, I think that I will prove to you that it is not your fault. There's another thing that I wanted to get settled before we dive into this. You may be sitting in the other end of this YouTube channel and you're looking at me and you're thinking, how could Reba possibly know what I'm going through? As I'm filming this, I am weighing in at about 132, 133. That's kind of my normal weight. And you may be thinking, well, how could she possibly know what I'm going through? Well, I'm going to share a part of my past with you right here in the beginning so that you will know that I can identify with you and I know what you're going through because I've been there myself. I have found the road to freedom, and that's why I'm here. That's why I started this YouTube channel, to help you find the way and take that journey from sickness and overweight and all of that to health again. And so I just want you to know that before we even get started. And see, the reason that you're overweight is the same reason that I was overweight. And it's really very simple. And there's really only one reason. And that is that you're addicted to food. Now, hold on a minute. Please don't click off, because remember, I already prefaced this by saying it's not your fault. Let me explain. I'm not talking about not having willpower to pass up the donut shop to get that jelly donut. I'm not talking about when you open that bag of potato chips, the advertisement really is true. You can't eat just one. And I'm not talking about your fetish for fettuccine, whatever that pasta is. I'm not talking about that. What I am talking about is a real, bona fide chemical dependence on the processed foods that you're eating every single day. See, what you may not understand, what you may not be aware of, is that food manufacturers in the United States pay millions of dollars every year to scientists and chemists who can come up with the perfect combination of chemicals that when you think about food, like you're thinking right now, because I just mentioned food, in about 2 minutes, you're going to be hungry. And when you get hungry, because you're addicted to that food, you're going to start craving that candy bar or that particular flavor of ice cream or those flaming hot cheese ball things or whatever. It's because you are addicted to food, and they have made sure that they put chemicals in that food, that candy bar, that processed food, that whatever, so that when you eat it, you get the exact same dopamine response in your brain that a drug addict gets when they take a hit of cocaine. That wonderful euphoric feeling. But then, as it starts to wear off, you start coming down. And just like a drug addict, you start craving that thing again. You want that candy bar again. You want that ice cream again. And so you go and you grab it because you just have to have your fix. Just like a drug addict. So what's the result of all that? If you go day in, day out for years at a time, when you are ingesting those things, what happens is that your body is not functioning the way that God has designed your body to operate. You become what's known as insulin dependent. And I'm going to unpack that for you. And there's going to be more about insulin dependence. I'm sorry. You're not insulin dependent. You are insulin resistant. You have insulin resistance. And I'm going to be unpacking in great detail in videos to come about insulin resistance. But let me just explain to you today why that is so important. God made our bodies to function this way. We eat food. Our liver turns the food that we eat to glucose, which is the fuel for every cell of the body. The pancreas secretes insulin, which is the truck that drives and delivers the glucose to the cells of the body. And that gives cell energy, and then you're able to do whatever you do. The glucose from the food that I ate is providing the energy that I need right now to do this video. That's the way God's design. And that happens day in, day out, moment in, moment out, throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your months, throughout your lifetime. And it always works that way in God's perfect design, except for one situation, and that is an emergency. And when you may be walking along, having a wonderful time, maybe walking through the park, having a wonderful time, enjoying nature, and then all of a sudden the bear jumps out. In that moment, there is another hormone that comes to the rescue, and that is cortisol. And in times of emergency, cortisol has one function, and that is to protect you, to sustain life, and to protect your vital organs, because that's what's necessary to sustain life. And so cortisol literally redirects the glucose that was going out to all the cells of your body to take care of this emergency and to take care of this of your vital organs during this emergency. And it works very well in a normal environment because, the bear jumps out, you either fight or you flight. The emergency, you outrun the bear and the bear's gone, or, you shoot the bear. Whatever happens, the bear's gone. The emergency has subsided. Then your body just kind of gets back to normal and everything is great. Okay? But here's the problem. Back in the old days, I was born in 1957. I grew up in the 50s, 60s, and went to high school in the 70s. But I survived it. Back in those days, we had very little stress in our lives. It's now, July here in Texas. And when I was a kid, we'd be out playing baseball. We'd be out laying in the grass, watching the clouds, whatever. And probably the most stressful situation that we would run into is if we accidentally hit a baseball over the fence and it hit Mr. Jones's window and cracked his window, because we knew that we were going to get in trouble, not only from Mr. Jones, but from our mama and daddy when we got back home. That's the way things were back then. And there were emergencies, but they were few and far between, and our body was able to handle them, and we were just fine. But today, just living our normal life, when the bear's not even there, we live an incredibly stressful life, just living day to day. And because of that, the stress level has increased exponentially just in our normal life. So it's kind of like we don't have the big bear that's chasing us, but we have a bunch of little bears that are always there. And even if they're not chasing us, we're worried about the fact that they're going to chase us. They're going to chase us. They're going to chase us. And so the stress causes a constant production of cortisol. And then on top of that, we're eating foods that are filled with sugar, seed oils, and chemicals that our bodies don't even know what they are. They don't know what to do with them. And so it doesn't want to completely get rid of it because it's thinking, well, I might need it. So it kind of stores it. And the storage facility for our bodies is fat. But one of the things that happens inside the body, when we take in all that glucose, it's going to secrete the insulin. It's going to take the glucose to the cells. The cells get... And then, finally, the next time the insulin comes and is bringing the glucose to that cell, the cell's going, no, please, I am full. Please, no more. I can't take any more. And so now we have insulin, which is a very strong hormone. It is full of glucose with no place to deliver it. And so what happens is that it just kind of floats around in the body, in the bloodstream, looking for a place that it can deliver its fuel. Well, that very powerful hormone, with all that glucose running around, irritates the body. And as we know, when our bodies get irritated, when it gets injured, what does it do? It swells up. It gets inflamed. And now you have inflammation on top of that. Your muscles get inflamed. Your joints get inflamed. Your organs get inflamed. And so what happens is that the cortisol, which is a big, powerful warrior hormone that is designed by God to protect your body, it actually perceives that as an emergency. And so it commandeers glucose and it sets out to protect your vital organs. And see, you have two kinds of fat in your body, basically. You have subcutaneous fat, which that's, the fat in our arms and legs and all of that, and, kind of our double chin and all of that. But you also have a very more important type of fat that we all have and we all must have, and that is visceral fat. And visceral fat is a fatty layer that surrounds your vital organs. And that's what its purpose is to protect your organs. Think about it this way. Have you ever gotten something in a glass container from Amazon and you open it up and it's wrapped in bubble wrap to protect it from the shipping? That is what visceral fat is. It literally is the bubble wrap, if you will, for your vital organs. Well, because now your cortisol is thinking you're in an emergency situation and it's bringing in all that glucose, it's commandeering that glucose, and it is feeding the visceral fat cells to protect your vital organs. So two things happen. First of all, it's taking the fuel away from the other parts of your body, from your brain, from your muscles, from your bones, from all of the other parts of your body, and it is putting that energy directly into what's going to protect it in that time of emergency, and that is the visceral fat. It feeds the visceral fat, feeds the visceral fat, feeds the visceral fat. The fat cells get bigger, the fat cells multiply, and then you all of a sudden have a big belly in the front. That's what visceral fat is. That's exactly what it does. So you see, it's not your fault. Because we're eating the standard American diet, which is wreaking havoc on our body. We're taking in way too much sugar, way, probably 100 times maybe more sugar than you should and more sugar than you need. Your body's doing just what God's designed it to do, and it gets more sugar in, it's processing more sugar, and it puts your body in a fight or flight response all day, every day, all night, every night, day after day after day after day. That's what happens. But I want you to know that it is absolutely 100% reversible. And you can do that yourself with no prescription required in the privacy of your own home. And that is to let food be your medicine. And honestly, the way that you should eat is not the way that we've been taught. You should be eating high protein, no restriction on fat, but very low carbohydrate. We should be eating 20 to 50 grams of carbohydrate a day at the most. And most Americans eat like 800 grams, which is pure sugar. And our body metabolizes it as sugar. And we wonder why we can't lose the weight. You can do this. And in videos to come, we'll be talking more about and unpacking that, even diving deeper into that. But for now, I just want to thank you for spending these few minutes with me. And I hope you found one more step that you can take on your journey to get well and live strong. Remember, it's never too late to honor the body that God gave you. Until next time, keep taking one step at a time.